Hey guys, welcome to the Touchdown Table. I'm Ryan, that's Tyler, that's Jordan. And in this video, we're going to be breaking down day 2 of the NFL Draft, rounds 2 and 3. Let's talk about it. What do you think about it?
Yeah, so we're just going to talk about some of our big takeaways. Obviously, we don't have time to talk about all the picks that happened today, although you know that I'd love to talk about every single one because you know I love to talk. But unfortunately, we can't do that. What? I know
Most
a decent amount of them. So with that said, let's get started on some of them. So
start off with the first one.
All right, let's start off with the first one, I guess. It's the Cincinnati Bengals. T. Higgins fell to the second round, and they grabbed him. I think that's a good value pick for them and a good player to help out Joe Burrow. And as Ryan said when we were watching, we were in contact with each other, and he said that that Joe Burrow and T. Higgins played each other in the national championship. Now they're on the same team.
Yeah, that's a good way to start out the first round. And then with the next pick, another receiver was picked. Michael Pittman Jr., who's kind of an underrated guy. The Colts wanted to get out there early and get him. After that was DeAndre Swift. A lot of people thought he might go to the Chiefs in the first round. The table that you're watching right now did not think so. The Lions took him. And to continue on with that, the theme of this kind of early portion of the second round was safeties were going, but maybe not in the order that a lot of people expected. Xavier McKinney went first to the Giants. And then Kyle Duggar went next to the Patriots right after that. They traded up to get him. I think they traded up to get him. And then
they did trade up, yeah.
It was Delpit and then Winfield. And Jonathan Taylor was also drafted to the Colts. That's one I actually forgot about until just now. That's a good pick for them.
Yeah, Ryan's
I think the Colts had 2 good picks the top half of the first round.
Yeah.
I think Taylor's going to do really good things behind that offensive line. And Pittman, big physical receiver, the health concerns with T.Y. Hilton. He's had some inconsistency with injuries. I like both of these picks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tight ends were a strange one. We're going to get to that in a little bit. But the Bears were able to get the first one. I'm wearing the Bears hat if you can't see. They got Cole Kmet, which I'm happy with having Cole Kmet on the Bears. But if you've been watching this channel, I've been telling you how much I love Antoine Winfield, and we passed on him.
Yeah, and after the pick, and then once they went, there was twice actually where this happened. So after the first Bears pick, and after the Buccaneers ended up drafting Antoine Winfield, Tyler went for a walk outside to clear his mind, and I snuck out there to try to see what he was doing. And I was expecting to hear some vulgar language, but he was pretty calm. He just needed to take a nice walk, and as Ryan knows, sometimes it's good to take a nice walk when you're angry, right?
Sometimes just take a walk. Yell at the world. It's okay.
That's right.
I think the steal of the draft,
sometimes
honestly,
if you're a good friend, you walk with them. Sometimes you leave.
Anyways, the steal of the draft for me is Winfield, like we were just talking about, to the Buccaneers at 45. The fact that he fell that far, the Browns took Delpit right before, so I think he was the 4th safety taken, if I'm not mistaken.
That's great. She should have been 1 or 2.
Yeah. And that next pick is another one that I like from the Broncos. They just got their second receiver in this draft, got Judy at 15, and now just got KJ Hamler at 46.
I felt like that pick was kind of a little bit unnecessary. Hamler is a great player. You just got Judy, and of course you want to help your young quarterback.
I think they clearly liked Hamler enough to take that chance on him, and they knew there was other players.
So you just got Judy, and now your receiving core is going to be pretty great. So you really want to improve on the offense. John Elway, an offensive-minded guy.
This is one of the better ones.
Even with Vic Fangio there, they wanted to go with the wide receiver position. And I like Hamler, and I also like Judy, so that should be a fun team to watch on the offense and defense side of the ball with Vic Fangio there.
Yeah, I mean, with the wide receivers now in Denver, a very young group that they have there. I think Sean Hamilton's still there, if I'm not mistaken. And then Cortland Sutton, just a couple years into his NFL career. And then now with these 2 guys that just got drafted, Judy and Hamler, look out for this offense in Denver, because it's going to be flying high, no pun intended.
Yeah.
All right.
I want to talk about one real quick.
Yeah.
I want to bring up the LA Rams picking at pick 52.
Oh, yeah.
J.K. Dobbins still on the board, losing Todd Gurley. They decide not to go with Dobbins, and they opt for Cam Akers out of Florida State.
Yeah,
I wanted to bring that one up, kind of important to bring up with J.K. Dobbins still on the board. On a lot of people's big boards, he was more up towards the top in front of Cam Akers. Akers is still a good player. They filled that void with Todd Gurley, so that's just an important one to talk about in my eyes.
Yeah, that was interesting. Another important one to me, since this is the touchdown table, and we love to talk about the Seahawks picks. They traded up to get Darrell Taylor, who's not a bad player, but I didn't think they needed to go that high up to get him. But they are good at finding late round guys in the late round and in the first round as well.
DK Metcalf last year, but I just don't quite see it as this one. I watched Taylor, didn't quite have this high of a grade on him. Like in the second round when they took him, but Seahawks are gonna Seahawk. I don't know what else to say.
Okay. Jordan was talking about Akers.
Ryan said yesterday when the Seahawks drafted their guy in the first round, he said, "Some things never change." I don't know if we said that in the other video, but that was his exact quote, and I liked it.
Yeah, that's a good one. This might have been the surprise of the night. The first quarterback of day 2 went away at pick number 53 overall. To who? The Philadelphia Eagles.
What the?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
I don't get it. They signed Carson Wentz to a big contract, and I know he gets hurt a lot, and they don't. Nate Sudfeld, I think, is their backup quarterback. But in the second round, to go and take a chance on a guy that specifically has these talents, it just is kind of like a what the moment. You know?
Yeah, it really is.
It's actually more kind of what the.
Think of that.
Okay, so yeah, very, very surprising. But with this one, I just don't get it because I think, Philadelphia, it just makes it hard to believe that they're truly confident in Carson Wentz if they keep,
you're right.
drafting quarterback. I think they drafted a quarterback late round last year. Just a guy in the second round. Like,
Carson Wentz is still young. It's
Yeah,
different
Carson
when you
Wentz
look at
is
an
young.
older
It's
guy,
not like
but
with Green Bay, how people were saying, they shouldn't have taken Jordan Love. Like, they should say, Aaron Rodgers is 36, but Carson Wentz is in his mid.
Aaron Rodgers is one of the goats
and you're already making this type of move. So I don't know. They get creative there in Philly, in the stands and on the field. So who knows how they're going to use him? But it really caught me off guard. And there were a couple quarterbacks that I think should have gone before.
Yeah, absolutely. That's probably the shocker of day 2, in my opinion. A few shockers overall, but that's probably the main shocker overall of day 2. And a very interesting pick to see how that will play out in the future. They could do a Taysom Hill role with him, but if you want to draft a guy for a Taysom Hill role, you don't draft him
don't do it in the
in
second
round.
Yeah, a little too early to talk about that. That's maybe day 3.
Yeah. A.J. Epinesa fell all the way to 54, which is a shock.
Bill's got a steal there. I had an already great defense. I had a first round grade on him. I'm shocked he fell that.
And Jordan mentioned Cam Akers going to the Rams. I almost said the Chargers because their logo looks so much like the Chargers. But they took advantage, and they got J.K. Dobbins adding another addition to their backfield. At the time, I was a little questionable, but now I look back at it, and if he was there, I think they were surprised that he was there, and they took advantage of it. Because now in the NFL, you need multiple guys in the backfield in order to have a successful offense. Because if one guy isn't doing it, maybe the other guy's going to be doing it split time, so one guy doesn't get tired, and the other guy can come in and help out.
And then another thing I want to talk about is the Patriots. They were kind of all over the place tonight. And by all over the place, I mean trading up. This is the second time they traded up. They traded up for Josh Uche.
Yeah.
And I liked him when I watched him. I think he's a good player. Honestly, I think that was probably their best pick of the night. But that's not saying much because they had a lot of things that people could think were reaches, and a lot of them were trading up to get them.
They're just unknown guys now.
And every time we thought they were trading up, we all thought, okay, is this the time they're going quarterback? No. And then next time there's a trade thing at the bottom, we're waiting to see who it is. Oh, Patriots quarterback, no. And then that one again. This time's for sure. No.
They were always trading up.
Yeah. By the time this video comes out, it'll be past day 3 of the draft, so you guys will already know if they got a quarterback. But for us making this right now, we don't. Fulton fell to 61. That was interesting.
Yeah, that was a great pick for Tennessee. I had a first-round grade on Fulton. He was my third-ranked corner. You can say what you want about some of his flaws, especially in deep coverage. But remember, this guy's going against, Jerry Jeudy, Van Jefferson. Yeah. So I really like the Fulton pick for Tennessee, and I actually had him getting him in the first round. So one of the bigger steals of round 2 there for me.
Yep. Van Jefferson was also a good pick for the Rams. I do want to mention that. And then A.J. Dillon was a little bit of a surprise for the Packers, who I really don't think are having themselves a good draft day, but they seem to be happy with it. I don't get it. And then Willie Gay and Jeremy Chin were there to end out the second round.
I want to go back to Green Bay for a
Please
second.
do.
I'm a big advocate for Aaron Jones, and so I think he's a great running back. They have a great backfield.
They had a good thing going there with the two of them, and I don't know why they're trying to get another guy in there.
Yeah, and
especially him.
Well, like I said,
This early.
I'm a big advocate for Aaron Jones. I think he should be the number one guy in that offense. I think he should be a 3-down back. They go out and draft another running back in the second round when they still had a guy like Zach Bond on the board, who I thought they could have gone even the first round to fill a linebacker void that they lost. But, I mean, there's still other players that they obviously could have slotted into that position. But with the Packers, I just didn't see it. With their first pick, they got criticism for the Jordan Love pick. And, yeah, there's a little bit of thinking behind it, why it could be good, but there's a lot of thinking behind it on why it could be a bad pick. So you go to the next pick, and then they just kind of do it again. They go crazy. They pick a running back when they really could have other positions. That
I don't know if they're trying to draft for 4 years from now. Because I don't know how much A.J. Dillon's going to be. Yeah.
You know what? I think we should just fire Matt LaFleur. I think.
Or Gutenkunst is the GM.
No,
right?
I don't care, though. I don't care.
All right. Let's go to the third round. I want to start it off with the Bengals, who picked first. Because this is the guy that I was high on. I never mentioned it on this channel. But he's the guy I watched later on in the draft process, Logan Wilson. I was glad to see him go earlier than I thought he would go. But where I had him ranked as going. And then at the second pick, Antonio Gibson. This is another one where you look at it and go, well, the Redskins know how to draft wide receivers. They did it last year with Terry McLaurin. I know that was a little bit later in the draft. But this could be... Yeah, and this could be one that's similar to that, where it doesn't look very pretty on the draft board, but once we get to the season, this could be a very dangerous player.
And I just wanted to say this because I'm not positive on this, but Goodell said it as running back, so I don't know if they drafted him as running back or not, because on the screen they talked about wide receiver and stuff. On this website, it actually says running back. I don't know.
He might have lined up in the backfield.
So they might have drafted him as running back. Not sure how that went down. But just wanted to make that clarified.
He looked tired, so
we'll figure it out
give
when
him a
the
break.
season comes, or probably before that.
It's a long day for him.
Yeah.
And then let's go back to our good old Seahawks, who traded up again to get Damian Lewis. That one wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
They needed help at the offensive line.
I thought would have been better guards slash centers. Boyd Christianberry's still there. Matt Hennessy was still on the board at that time, I believe. But some things never change. I'm gonna say it again.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right.
And then another one that I wanted to talk about real quick. A few picks after that. It's the Arizona Cardinals to get a great value pick on Josh Jones out of Houston. This is a guy that a lot of people thought were going into the first round. I know both of you had him going to the Dolphins at picking 19. I don't remember.
It was 18.
I always get that one wrong.
I had 26, so.
Yeah.
I had 18, you had 26, so same thing.
Yeah. So first round, still basically the same thing, I guess you could say. So this is the guy that fell all the way to the third round. I remember when the Bears were on the clock, I was desperately trying to have them draft Josh Jones, and my dad said it when we were watching the draft. He said there must have been something that we don't know about this guy, because this is someone that a lot of people had really highly ranked on their big boards, and he fell all the way to the third round to the Cardinals.
Every
there must
time
have
we
been
saw a
something
team that was had a need at offensive line, we're like, okay, it's got to be Josh Jones. It's got to be Josh Jones. And then once we got to the Cardinals, I bet on this one without knowing who it was going to be, and I didn't really bet on it. I was just willing to give someone $1 if it wasn't Josh Jones, and it was. So I kept that $1 that I got in day one of the draft. All right, let's go down the board a little bit.
Yeah, I'm taking some away from you, but
no, you're perfectly good. Keep going.
All right, New Orleans.
Yeah,
they traded up with the Browns, and Zach Bond was still on the board. Actually, when we were watching this, the pick after them was, and I say was because they traded away, but it was the Indianapolis Colts. So we thought maybe the Saints were trading from the Colts to try to make sure they can get a quarterback that they want. That's what we thought when we saw it.
Yeah.
But Zach Bond was still on the board. They had a need at linebacker position. Not much of a need really at all, but they did have somewhat need at the linebacker position. So with him still on the board, a good value pick to go up and trade. And the next pick, Detroit came from the Indianapolis pick, and they got Jonah Jackson. Just wanted to mention that trade after that.
Yeah. Go down the board a little bit. Ojemudia was a good one for the Broncos, I think. And then you mentioned Hennessy. He ended up going to the Falcons. We're skipping a couple picks as we go along, so sorry if we skipped your team. But we're just trying to get the takeaways from it. The Raiders had 2 picks in a row they ended up going 2 wide receivers in a row, one being Lynn
One and a
Bowden
half, I would
Jr.
say.
and yeah, you're right, and one being Brian Edwards. And he says that because Lynn Bowden Jr. could really do anything in college. He played all over the field at running back, at wide receiver, at quarterback. I thought he was the most interesting prospect in the entire draft just because of what he could do. I didn't know if he was going to go this high. I didn't expect him to. But I think the Raiders have a good idea what they want to do with him. And I think they're going to be able to work it out pretty nicely.
John Gruden will use him somehow.
Yeah. Neville Gallimore and Lloyd Cushenberry were good picks for their respected teams. And then Terrell Lewis was that next pick. Ryan was hoping he would fall to the Texans. He
This
did not
close.
do that.
I did not think we would get that close. We were 6 picks away. You went 84 to the Rams. I
Yeah.
mean, I had a high second round, even late first round grade on him. So props to the Rams. You got to steal.
Yeah, I agree with that. They got a pretty good stool, but hey, I think the Texans got a pretty good pick, and this is someone that I actually haven't talked about on the channel because I watched him after we did a bunch of our stuff. But it was someone that I really like, so we'll get to the Texans pick in just a second. But I think Tyler has something else to say first.
Yeah. With the Bills pick, I want to mention Zach Moss because I know they drafted Devin Singletary last year, but this is a great compliment to that. Probably
Frank Gore, but
should have been gone before. Frank Gore's getting there. A little bit up there in age there. The Patriots actually had a good draft pick with Anfernee Jennings. We thought that was good. Jordan Elliott to the Browns was a nice one. And then now, Jordan, you can get to the Texans pick.
Yeah, this is the Texans, and this is someone that I was high on coming into the draft. Someone that I really liked, and Ryan was upset that his team didn't get Terrell Lewis, but they got another good edge rusher in Jonathan Greenard out of Florida. I really liked him a lot. Jabbar Zuniga went before him, and I actually think that Greenard was the better player. I think that they got another good edge rusher there in Houston, and I mean, there's nothing about this guy that you could specifically point to, but he's just an all-around pretty good rusher. There's nothing that is going to wow you, but he gets to the quarterback. He's good on runs, and he's a solid player. So I just wanted to mention that for Ryan and for my boy Jonathan Greenard.
Yeah, and he's a guy. He's kind of similar to Terrell Lewis. I feel like in a way where he's listed as a linebacker, and he can kind of be used in the defensive end. Sometimes drop back into coverage. I like the pick. I was hoping for Terrell to fall. That would have been a massive steal, but I still like this value pick. And I think that Texans pass rush wasn't the same last year, so using some pass rush along with Ross Blacklock, who we got earlier. So I'm happy with Texans pick.
All right,
Pick 91.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting one. First of all, this was
what was that noise?
very interesting. So I'm trying to figure this out as I look at it, but this pick was, I think, traded twice or something.
It was traded to the Jets, and then I think the Jets gave it to the Patriots, I think is what happened.
No, it's later in the draft.
Oh.
But this one, I think, was the... I got it. Okay. This one, I'm pretty sure it was the Raiders picked via Houston, and then they gave the pick to the Seahawks. No, I don't know.
They drafted Devin Asiasi
not
from
they,
UCLA.
the Patriots drafted him.
Yeah, Devin Asiasi. A guy with a lot of
a tight end.
Good upside, but some tight ends still on the board they could have taken. Hunter Bryant's still out
And
there
some
even
tight ends
after the
still on
third
board
round.
that they will
Bryson Hopkins,
as we go
Harrison
through the
Bryant.
video.
Adam Trautman did end up going, I believe, later on, but he was still on the board at this time. Let's continue down the board to another tight end, where the Packers draft day, in our opinion, continued to be a failure with Josiah DeGuara. I was trying to watch guys, as many guys as I could that I thought would be in the draft, and he was one of the guys I watched late because I didn't even know if he was going to get drafted very high in the draft, and they ended up going very early. We talked about the tight end still on the board. I don't understand this one, but I guess the Packers do, and they seem to enjoy
It's a
it.
need for the Packers, but
Yeah.
it's just, in my opinion, the wrong guy.
I had them getting Quebec in the first round of my mock. That would have been a lot better for them.
I mean, Ryan's guy, Hunter Bryant's still out there.
How all these guys are going before Hunter Bryant, I have no idea. How all these teams are passing up on someone with such a unique skill set for his position, I don't know, but someone's going to get a gem in day 3.
Yes. Okay. I'm gonna skip a little bit down, and I want to talk about
Patriots again.
Yes, this is exactly where I'm going.
All right. Well, I'm not going to try to explain this one to you, but this is. Wait, I can try. No, I'm not going to.
No, it's
Okay.
just.
Well, either way, this pick was traded, I think, twice. I'm not sure. But either way, it's the Patriots who traded it back up again. This time we thought maybe they'll go quarterback this time. Didn't do it.
Which actually, this is near the Tom Brady pick, which would have been interesting. I didn't realize that while it was actually happening, but it's near it. It's not the exact one, I don't think. Is it? What do you say? The Tom Brady pick. When was Tom Brady drafted? Do you know?
199.
Oh, it's not even
We're
close.
not even
Never mind.
close.
Hold on. Well, it's near 99, so that's wrong. False information here from
The
not first
Patriots
time I-
drafted Dalton King.
Can I please
King from
talk?
Virginia Tech. You were taking a little too long there.
I don't care. You've been talking. They drafted Dalton Keene, tight end from Virginia Tech, another guy that a lot of people weren't very high on as much. Still some other guys still out there. And they just drafted a tight end before, so they traded up twice to draft 2 tight ends. It's going to be interesting to see how they work that out, and maybe taking after the Bears with getting 5,000 tight ends.
Yeah, I feel like Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick didn't know which one to take, and then they took Devin Asiasi, and then one of them was like, well, I'm not sure about that. Let's just take another one. Let's just trade up and get another one that would be there 2 rounds later. And they got 2 tight ends, and they're trying to ensure they can get their replacement. One that's going to go under the radar is Alex Highsmith. I really liked him. I had a early 3rd round grade on him. I was happy to see the Steelers get him in the 3rd round. Same with Davion Taylor at the next one. And then probably the last one we're going to talk about is Adam Trotman to the Saints. They traded up back into the 3rd round to get him. What do you guys think about that?
Now, Hunter Bryant, I don't know what else to say. You know, it's just there's better tight end. Both of the Bryants really should be gone by now, but yeah, you know, that's why they have all 7 rounds. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, it's a position of need for well, not exactly a position of need because they still do have Jared Cook, who had a sufficient year last year, so they didn't necessarily need a tight end. But you know, we saw with Jimmy Graham there, that team was really great, so they want to go out and get another great tight end. The best on the board for them, I guess, was Adam Trotman. In my opinion, there were some better guys out there to get, but I'm not an NFL GM, and I don't think I'll ever be. Maybe I'll be watching this video back when I am a GM, and my dreams will be coming true. So
Okay. This is better than Dalton Keene and Asiasi and DeGuara. I'll say that. I had Trotman as my 5th best tight end, ahead of all 3 of those other guys. The last pick was Tyree Phillips to the Ravens from Mississippi State, and that concluded the 3rd round. So there it was. Our takeaways, just going through the draft and telling you what we thought the biggest picks and the most important ones that will lead to some stuff in the future. So thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, and with that, we'll see you guys later.
See ya.
see ya.